Yeah, 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 yeah. I used to play ball like the YMCA in LA. Yeah, 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 yeah. So Ali Bongo, remember him, right? That was removed in a military coup by stepbrother or cousin or whatever. In a coup that looks more like a facade. And yeah, so Ali Bongo and his people are going to go on exile from Gabon and they go to Angola, I think. They'll be welcome in Angola because there's a new leader in place, and the leader is not going to tolerate them being present in Angola because they'll continue to feel like, oh, well, this guy is actually occupying the seat that we should occupy and will constitute some kind of impediment to his smooth ruling. Well, we might see that the new president will be in power for another 20 or 30 years. This is a new dynasty. The departure marks the end of 19 months spent in captivity in Libreville. So jail in Libreville for 19 months. Following the military coup led by General Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema on August 2023, Gabon's ousted President Ali Bongo and his family have spent their entire time locked up at a home or in prison. But 5 days after his wife Sylvia and son Nuruddin were released from prison and transferred to house arrest, awaiting their trial for embezzlement and money laundering, Bongo and his family have arrived in Angola. The Bongo dynasty ruled Gabon for over 50 years before being ousted from power in a military coup by General Brice Clotaire Oligui Nguema in 2023. There's no Palestine, Alhamdulillah. Who's this person? Ellen Yulik. Why would they say that? Came to Libreville on Monday in order to improve relations with Oligui Nguema, who was declared the winner of the presidential elections last month. Ties between the two countries have somewhat cooled down during the transition period following the coup. The African Union, currently headed by Angolan President Joao Lourenco, have repeatedly asked Gabon's new authorities to release Bongo and his family. Ooh, it's interesting. Sylvia and Nuruddin Bongo lawyers have previously voiced concerns for their health conditions during their detention in prison. Hmm, that is interesting. So the wife and the son are the ones that they actually wanted to, because the wife of Ali Bongo wanted his son to become president, and there was even plan of him winning election and then somehow finding a way to transition to his son, something like that. And now one of their distant cousins decided to carry out the coup, which was a trusted guy within the army. It's like one of the top commanders in the army. They trusted him and entrusted him with a lot of the responsibilities, and he decided to turn against them. This is some kind of interesting news. What else? What else do I have to look at? So, a bit of African news, guys. Like I said, Chad detains former Prime Minister Masra after deadly clashes. Let's look at the situation in Chad, guys. What is going on in Chad? Chad detains former Prime Minister Masra after deadly clashes. Why did this happen? Let's take a look at it. Mm, At least he knows his stuff. Chad's former Prime Minister and opposition leader, Success Masra, was taken into custody by security forces on Friday in what the party called abduction. Public prosecutor Umar Mamad Kediraye says Masra was arrested in connection with an intercommunal clash in Chad's southwestern province of Logone Occidental that killed 42 people. Masra is accused of inciting hatred and violence through social media posts that called on the population to arm themselves against the community in the area, according to the prosecutor. It is unclear what specific post the prosecutor was referring to. So there was a local clash, in the province that he's from. Former prime minister, opposition figure detained for questioning. That is it's kind of interesting. Russia doesn't want a ceasefire. Emmanuel Macron again on the news, guys. saying that Russia doesn't want a ceasefire, says President Emmanuel Macron. President Emmanuel Macron on Friday said that the last few hours have shown that Russia doesn't want a ceasefire. Russia and Ukraine were holding their first direct peace talks in 3 years in the Turkish port city of Istanbul, but officials and observers expected them to yield little immediate progress on stopping more than a 3 years war. We must push towards this path and build just and lasting peace for Ukraine, Macron told leaders gathered in a summit of the European political community. Speaking in Albania, Macron also urged leaders from across Europe to unite to combat economic challenges from outside, including the Trump administration's tariff. So Emmanuel Macron is trying to position himself as a leader within the European Union, as some kind of advocate, for European values. And yeah, France is not doing well. If you look at the recent activities, the French, you know, have not been the best winners so far from the war between India and Pakistan, which showed a lot of the frailties of some of the French Rafale jets shot down by the J-50s that the Chinese gave to Pakistan. And what else happened again is the fact that France is trying to use this Russophobic card in order to gain some kind of popularity and attention. France was the one that was, in fact, Macron was the one that was like, you know, being the go-to guy between the European Union and Moscow. He even visited Moscow, and now he's trying to champion himself as the biggest Russophobia in the European Union, and to gain some kind of oxygen or attention, if you like. And Para, thank you so much for tapping. Thank you, those of you that are tapping and sharing. I appreciate. Um, what else am I going to look at? Let's look at Donald Trump wraps up Gulf tour with string of lucrative deals in the UAE. This is from 2 hours ago. The United States President Donald Trump wrapped up his Middle East tour on Friday that saw him visit Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and with the last stop in the United Arab Emirates. In his first visit to the UAE by the US president since 2008, the two countries pledged to strengthen ties and announce deals totaling over $200 billion. Let's not forget that the Saudis have made pledges of, a deal of about $600 billion with an immediate arms contract worth over $141 billion, which is the largest in the history, largest ever in history. So its Etihad Airways have said it will buy in 28 US made Boeing aircraft in a deal worth 14.5 billion. Abu Dhabi itself had pledged to hike the value of energy investments in the US to 414 billion in the next decade. The 4-day trip in the region was very much focused on business and resulted in a string of lucrative deals for both Washington and the three countries. Trump boarded Air Force One in Abu Dhabi on Friday, giving his signature fist bump before heading back home, having shifted Washington's focus from Israel to wealthy Gulf states. That's kind of interesting. It's interesting. All about Israel, Israel, Israel. And now these Gulf states are the ones that are the biggest players because they've got money and America is for sale. If you want to gain the interest of the powerful lobby groups in the US, just have a lot of money. And once you have money, the Saudis can push people around. The Saudi leadership can do whatever they want in Washington, D.C. They look at what Saudi was able to do: lift all sanctions on Syria because they finally removed Assad and the Iranian influence and the Russian influence from Syria. So they've decided to do whatever they want. The U.S. now is the big player in Syria as a result of this announcement. And let's not forget that Turkey is also on board with this arrangement. So it's what do you say to the Persian Gulf? Well, the situation developing there, I would see it as a benefit for Iran. And the Gulf countries are getting a lot of influence in Washington, D.C. And I don't know. It shows me clearly that there's a positive, this is a move in the right direction. Because if Trump is going to most of those countries to do these deals at this point in time, he cannot turn around tomorrow and call for war against Iran. Because the war against Iran is going to affect some of those energy deals, because we saw big business people like Altman, who's the founder of OpenAI, the chat GPT you use. Um, then you have people like Larry Fink, who's the leader or the owner, not the CEO of BlackRock. I wouldn't say owner. And you have people like Elon Musk. Most of these top business people were brought into this summit that happened in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And from there, he went to Qatar. So if this is a business kind of government, if you like, so the level of belligerency should go down. It's not going to be more; it's going to be less. And this trip to Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the United Arab Emirates signals a shift in the policy of Washington because it has always been about Israel, Israel, Israel. And if Trump is trying to do a deal with these Gulf countries, it means we are going to see less hostilities. And let's remember that anytime countries do business and there's money involved, it's going to be less hostility. So a war against Iran in the region is going to affect Saudi Arabia and all these other countries. So what would be the benefit of doing a deal? What would be the reaction of the stock market? What would be the reaction of business people, knowing fully well that they are going to attack Iran, then investing that kind of money in doing a deal with the United States? So even though people see for instance, if you're from Iran and you're seeing that this is less of positivity for you, I would argue that you're wrong. I would say this is a positive news. It means that they are willing to talk with the Iranians. It means that America is willing to do business. It means that this current government in the United States is willing to toe the path of business and not warfare and hostilities, as encouraged by Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, wherever the capital is. I mean, according to the UN, they're still seeing the capital of Israel as Tel Aviv, but the Israelis are saying that Jerusalem is the capital. So for those of you thinking that, and I said this about 3 months ago, some so-called experts were adamant. They said, "Oh, the attack on Iran is imminent. They are moving up. They are trying to show up, their power and back up diplomacy with military force, if you like." So that was the whole purpose of those assets being deployed in the Gulf. So, and less than 1 month later, they took them out after doing a deal with the Houthis. So it doesn't make sense. And I'm telling you right now, there will be no war against Iran. Whether they agree to any kind of deal or not, there will be no war. And if Israel pursue the path of war, this Trump government is going to really throw them under the bus. And this is where the frustration is coming from on the part of Washington, because they believe that they've given the Zionists in Israel a lot of rope, in order for them to move around. They're giving them a lot of leeway and free hand. But to turn around and say, "Oh, you have to stay still until we achieve our objectives." What will be the objective of Israel? It is to infinity. It will never end. Because from Syria, it's going to go to Lebanon, it's going to one thing after another, and they are now talking about Iran. They have not finished the ones they are dealing with. They are talking about Iran. And they're going to, of course, if you go and do an airstrike against Iran, what do you think Iran is going to do to your beautiful mansions in Tel Aviv? They are going to bomb it back. And then you want to drag America into it, right? So basically, this is what they are asking for. They're saying, "Oh, we want to start up something. Let's go and attack them and hope that everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be fine. Let's just go and bomb the shit out of Iran and hoping that Hashem is going to come and make everything look good." No, Hashem is not going to come and make everything look okay. It's going to be an attack back by Iran, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be very ugly. And when it gets ugly, you want America to come and do the deal. You want Daddy United States of America to come and help you clean up the garbage. This is what you're asking for. America, please come and clean up the garbage, because we have poked the Iranians in the eye and now they're fighting back. So we want you to come and clean up the garbage. We want you to come and clean up the mess. Thank you, Susu. Para, thank you so much. So we're seeing a shift on the part of Washington, D.C., saying, "Hang on a second. If you're going to go around like a baby elephant causing all the problems and trampling upon everything you see. If you get bitten by the snake, don't run and come asking for help. Okay? If you're going to run around like a baby hippo looking for trouble, you should be ready to fight. Okay? Just because you are large and fat in size does not mean you can fight. And this is what Washington is saying, that we will help you, we will back you up, we will continue to support you, but do not go running around, you know, looking for trouble every time. Because in as much as we want to help and assist you, it's not just going to be a bottomless pit of wealth that we have deep into our pockets. Oh, well, you come and you start up trouble, and Washington, D.C. is going to run to your rescue. Well, this is the promise. And by the way, the Israelis would also think they have an argument because Trump have promised them heaven and earth before he won the election, and is hoping and praying that they will somehow help him to do some deal. You know, they'll help him to get him to the position where he will be able to amplify his own worldview. And now we are seeing the true character and the true nature of this administration. So it's not going to be a straightforward romp for Washington. Um, okay, what else? What else? What else? I need to take a look at something. So I need to stop sharing this. Let's go. Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes. Let's look at some updates as well from. So I'm going to give you these updates from from the top news outlets. Let's look at what Al Jazeera is saying, and we're going to look at other media outlets to see what they're saying. Thank you for sharing the live stream. Thank you for Israel strikes Yemen's Hudaydah as more than 100 killed across Gaza. Again, well, the US have done a deal with Yemen. Now they have to contend with the Israelis, carrying out these airstrikes every day. Almost every night they are doing this. Almost every night. Israeli airstrikes have killed more than 100 Palestinians across Gaza since dawn today, with dozens missing under the rubble of destroyed buildings. Israel's military have again targeted Yemen, claiming strikes on the port of Hodeidah and As Salif in Houthi-controlled territory. Either you kill us or let us live. Our colleagues on the ground have been speaking to people in the Jabalia refugee camp recently targeted in Israel's attack. Ahmad Mansour said he counted more than 60 airstrikes in the Tal Azata area overnight. All of them were targeting civilians. All the houses were being bombed. Everything is gone. He told Al Jazeera. What is the person supposed to do? They are all making a joke out of us. I'm heading to the coast town. We have been displaced more than 50 times. Either kill us or let us live. Another resident, Amna Azam, said she and her family could not sleep all night. They told us to evacuate, but we don't know where to go. She told Al Jazeera, we have no shelter, even no tent. We have set up, even the tent we set up was destroyed after our house was demolished in the Asika area. They drove us out. We don't know where to go anymore. So this is what is going on in the Gaza Strip. Let's look at what is going on in other places around the world. Russia-Ukraine agreed prisoner swap as talks end in less than 2 hours. Kiev and Moscow agreed to exchange 1,000 prisoners of war each, heads of delegation have said. Russia and Ukraine officials met for less than 2 hours in Turkey for their first direct talks in more than 3 years aimed at ending the war. The delegations met on Friday at Istanbul's Dolmabahce Palace in Turkey, where the two sides failed to agree on a ceasefire despite pressure from United States President Donald Trump to end the war. But before they adjourned, Kiev and Moscow agreed to exchange 1,000 prisoners of war each, according to both heads of delegations, in what would be their biggest such swap since the war began. Both sides also discussed a ceasefire and a meeting between their heads of state, according to Chief of Ukrainian Delegate Rustem Umerov. Sir. Israel launched Operation Gideon's Chariot. Discuss it, please. Okay. Somebody is telling me to discuss Operation Gideon's Chariot. Why should I do that? I only do what I want. This is my page, ladies and gentlemen. Russia's presidential aide Vladimir Medinsky, who headed Moscow's delegation, confirmed that both sides agreed to provide each other with detailed ceasefire proposal. Um, Mauritania's mass migrant pushback. Okay, so this is an emotional prime minister in Netanyahu saying, "We have been reporting Israel has said it struck the Hudaida and Al Salif ports in Yemen. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu have now said that the attacks were just the beginning. We will not stand idle and allow the Houthis to harm us. We strike them with greater force, including at their leadership and at the infrastructure that enables them to attack us," he said in a statement posted on government social media accounts. He further described the Houthis as just a tool, saying Iran was behind them. Um, well, again, this is coming on the backdrop of the US doing a deal with the Houthis, or the Ansarullah as they're called, to stop, to have some kind of cessation of hostilities. And Israel is going on ramping because they've been left out of the deal. Israel is going on to carry out attacks every night against the Houthis because just like a kid, they are looking for attention. Making noise and looking for attention is about looking for attention and oxygen. And the only time this will stop is when the prime minister himself is kicked out. Because as long as this political setup is in place in Israel, it's going to continue to enable this kind of attitude and behavior. Yes, 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 yes. The surprise move, Trump goes. Okay. Yes, 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 yes. Um, what else is happening? Updates from Poland presidential election 2025 from migration to EU. What's at stake? Krakow, Poland. The two main contenders for Poland presidential election on Sunday locked horns over Europe and traded personal barbs this week as they each made final bids for the support of floating voters. The winner will take over from the current president, Andrzej Duda, of the Nationalist Conservative Law and Justice Party at the crucial point when neighboring Ukraine is battling Russia, and when cooperation between the government and the president is vital to push through reforms. Looking visibly tired at the rally on Tuesday, Rafal Sarkowski of the ruling center-right civic platform stood on the platform at Krakow Central Market Square amid a large crowd sharing his name, blue European flags fluttering beside the white and red Polish ones. I didn't think it would be necessary to remind all of us, especially my main competitor, that honestly is the most important thing. That honesty is the most important thing. Human decency is the most important thing, and selflessness is the most important thing, said Tarkovsky, referring to recent news story about his competitor Karol Nawrocki, an independent candidate supported by the opposition Law and Justice Party, which ruled Poland between 2015 and 2023, purchased a flat in Gdansk belonging to the elderly man in exchange for promise to provide him with care. According to the man's family, the promise was not fulfilled and he was placed in a state nursing home. Anyways, you lie, sir, blatantly. I'm not lying about anything, Ariel. You want to talk about Hudeida, the attack on Hudeida? I don't know. We can talk about that, but yeah, there was an attack on Hudaida. I talked about it already earlier before you came. I was just referring to the attack on another port, which is let's see, As Salif. That's what I talked about. As Salif port in Yemen. That's the one I talked about. So I wasn't really talking about Hudaida. There was an attack on Hudaida as well, but that's the only one you know about. I wasn't really interested in talking about that. Talking about As Salif port in Yemen. There was an attack on the As Salif port in Yemen. So it's not just the one in Budeida. So for those of you just joining, please like, share, leave a comment, and share it to other groups as well if you can. Let's keep the conversation going. I'm streaming on multiple areas as well. YouTube if you're following me, and on TikTok as well as Facebook page. So please don't forget to share, like, and comment. Para Gazawi. Thank you for following. PG, hey PG, what's up? PG, what did I do to you? You blocked me. Come on. Why did you block me? You shouldn't block me. I'm a Mexican just like you. I am a Mexican just like you. Why would you block me? You're Mexican. I blocked you. I don't have your block. What are you talking about? But you know I'm a Mexican. You blocked me. I on my main account. No, I don't have your block. I don't block anybody. And I haven't hosted lives in forever, so I don't block. What happened to you? What happened? I used to. Yeah, I think your lives are some. Yeah, some of the most not entertaining, but they're kind of you as a person actually you're more reasonable if you like. Not like I agree with anything you said, but you're kind of somewhat not in the middle. You're a radical, but how do I say? It's just about the personality. I find it more. Just say you love me and that's it. It's okay. No, 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 no. I don't. Oh my God. Just say it. It's fine. Where have you been? Where have you been? What's wrong? What's happening now? You've been busy. Yeah, no, I've been pretty busy. I honestly, I made so many lies, but it's just too much of a craziness. And honestly, I'm driving right now. On top of that, I got very busy. I opened a new business, and then I focusing on that. But I passed through the lives and everything. But yeah, I was an amazing host. You can say I'm not. You can say I love you. It's fine. It's no, okay. It's the hardest thing on earth to say. But yeah, you kind of you're good at hosting, but you suck at the kind of people you like to support. This is the problem, right? When I mean, look at Zionist Barbie in the comments. Yeah, those are the people you like to support, huh? I love Zionist Barbie. I love Zionist Barbie. She's amazing. Really? Yeah, she's so smart. She's so smart and beautiful. No, no, no. She's not. She's not. She's not the smartest, honestly. When at the midst of the atrocities, I saw her posting videos about like doing barbecues for the IDF, and then she claimed to be reasonable. That cannot be, it's not even possible. What's wrong with throwing barbecues to the IDF? I wish he was there to support her doing that. I think she's doing a fantastic job supporting the